Hello guys, this is RJ from Game News USA here, and today was a big day. Today it was the Xbox Showcase, and we're gonna go over everything right here. This might end up being a rather lengthy video, so sit tight, relax, take a cold beverage, and enjoy the ride. So, Xbox had a presentation today, and they kicked it off with Black Ops 6. And they gave us some details. I took a whole page of notes here about everything, so bear with me. So Black Ops 6 is being set in the Gulf War. It's kind of weird that they're calling it Black Ops 6 when the last entry was called Cold War. And it looks like the same old Call of Duty formula for the most part, but they did announce some changes. Phil Spencer said its expansion and beta will be available at the same time on all consoles. I think that's really a good idea, and it's an olive branch. Honestly, they could have just done what PlayStation did for years, and let's have our Xbox beta before everybody else. They chose not to do that. I think that's a good idea. It is coming to Game Pass. They did announce it will be day one on Game Pass. And that immediately leads me to a concern I have, which is I was very disappointed to see that the older Call of Duty games, the older Activision Blizzard games, really still haven't made their way to Game Pass, and there was no announcement of any kind of the older Activision Blizzard games, the older Call of Duty games coming to Game Pass, and I think that's a real missed opportunity. And you can tell in an otherwise excellent showcase the lack of things to play right now, the second Shadow drops, the lack of any information about old Activision Blizzard games, old Call of Duty games coming to Game Pass. The lack of that kind of left the show a little dull there, in that portion at least. Which is why I think overall the show's an 8 out of 10. It could have been a 10 out of 10 if the right games had showed up to Game Pass immediately. A missed opportunity there. I really thought, considering Activision Blizzard was on sale in the store recently, that meant we were about to get a big drop of games. That failed to happen. We didn't get the Bethesda-like drop. So, that sucks. But, Black Ops 6 looks really good. And, they're adding this Omni movement system. So, like, strafing left and right will feel better and look better. Peeking around corners, running around corners, circling while prone. That's all really good stuff that they're adding to make the gameplay better. In campaign, they're adding varied mission locations. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of varied mission locations, and also how you tackle missions actually affecting the story. In a lot of ways, this feels like this should have been what Black Ops 3 was, because really the story seems to take place following the events of the flashbacks from Black Ops 2. And so it feels almost like a direct sequel to that. And so I'm excited to see Frank Woods return, and that's good. They'll also be bringing back the Safe House, which was in Cold War. You know, take that for what it is. But one of the most exciting things I heard about the multiplayer is you'll get 16 maps at launch, and they're bringing back the old school prestige system where you do 10 prestiges, and where your gear is relocked again when you prestige. And then once you do your 10 prestiges, you do master prestige rank up to 1,000. This is a very similar system that I seen Black Ops 3 run, and that I seen Black Ops 4 run. So I'm very glad to see that return. That is more like the Call of Duty I'm used to. And it's coming out October 25th, 2024, if I didn't already say already. So Showcase starts off good, you know, and I just gave you all the Call of Duty details right there. They're going to have a Call of Duty specific showcase on August 28th. But, so they had Call of Duty stuff at the beginning of the show, and after the actual presentation, they had a Call of Duty specific presentation. So I just wanted to give you guys a touch of both of those things that happened with Call of Duty today, and all things involving Call of Duty, and the lack of the old Call of Duties coming to Game Pass. So I just wanted to get that out of the way first. If you're enjoying the video so far, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. They also talked about HUD customization. You can move your HUD around and whatnot, so that's good. Next thing I want to talk about is there's a brand new Doom game that looks absolutely phenomenal coming out in 2025. I do want to say a lot of these games come out in 2025, and that's interesting. Xbox always seems to be, hey, wait till next year and let's see. Well, next year should have already been here. You know what I'm saying? But some games had a 2024 launch years, but didn't have the dates. That's concerning. Those games could slip into 2025. I'll talk about those later. But they're looking at 2025 as a big year. I think in general, you're seeing that Xbox is putting out pretty much everything they have left this generation. And I also want to go ahead and say this now before you go any further in the video. There was no mention of Halo as far as I could see, which may be the first time I've ever seen an Xbox presentation without Halo involved. There was no Forza involved. So, I mean, those are two little dings right there. I'm surprised that they didn't want to talk about Halo Infinite at all, considering all of these games that they bring up seasonal updates for, and Halo's not one of them, which is kind of odd. That was a free marketing opportunity for them to take a minute out to talk about Halo, and they didn't do it. Nothing about Forza, which is odd. They could have brought up anything about their newer Forza game and maybe some updates they're making there. So, unless I missed that, no Halo, no Forza in the presentation, which is why the music that I'm playing is from Gears of War 2, the main theme, if you can hear it in the background, instead of the Halo theme, which I usually like for something like this. State of Decay 3 was announced. Well, it was shown, and it's coming to Game Pass. It looks a lot like The Walking Dead. That's all I put in my notes for it. It looks a lot like The Walking Dead. I thought maybe it was The Walking Dead when I first seen it. I have not been a big State of Decay fan. Look, I'm not a fan of every single game that Xbox announces. But the point is, you want a wide portfolio of games, and did people generally enjoy the showcase? And I think the answer to those questions are yes. I might have some gripes about old Call of Duty's not coming to Game Pass, or certain things, or certain games that didn't appeal to me. But in general, I think this was a showcase that a majority of people are going to find was pretty good. And that's why I gave it an 8 out of 10. So, as I was writing notes for this game, I said it looks like Starfield. And then it turned out to be... Oh, wait. We'll back that up. Sorry. We're out of order here. Dragon Age The Vile Guard is coming fall of 2024. Is this supposed to be the big Dragon Age game people have been waiting on? Because honestly, it did not impress me very much. I'm not going to lie, people. Maybe you can let me know in the comments below if that's supposed to be the new Dragon Age, or is that some kind of phone game? I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying not to diss on it too much, but that's how I felt. Starfield. Okay, here we go about Starfield. Starfield Shattered Space expansions coming in 2024, and they are dropping new content today, like missions and stuff and whatnot. Look, I will defend Starfield. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun. I gave the game a 10 out of 10. I thought it was one of the 3 best games in 2023, which was a really stacked year. I put it right alongside Mario Wonder, which was my game of the year last year. And I put it alongside Fire Emblem Engage, a game that I really enjoyed as well. And Tears of the Kingdom, one of the 4-5 best games of 2023. So, yeah, I think that I'm not going to go back and play it, but I do think the expansion maybe could help some people get into it, or if they're still playing it, enjoy it. I enjoyed my 70-hour experience with it. I don't intend to go back. Speaking of expansions, there's a ton of expansions in the middle of the show. and I don't want to like take too much time in each one, but I will talk about it. Fallout 76 is getting an expansion called Skyline Valley in 2024, and also the ability to play as the Ghoul in 2025. Okay, that's cool if you like the Starfield or the Fallout show and you like Fallout 76. Hope you enjoy that. There was a game called Expedition 33 that actually I think might be my game of the show. It might have been the surprise of the show for me. It might have been like the highlight of the show that was unexpected. Because I was carefully watching this trailer. And I thought the game looked phenomenal. But it also had combat that made me think of Xenoblade. It looked like maybe there was multiple characters on screen where you select an action command. And I got very excited because I felt like, oh, is this like a grittier Xenoblade looking thing? And that's possible. I need to see more on this game. So don't let me forget about Expedition 33. That game needs to be on my radar. It will come to Game Pass sometime in 2025. Let's see. They showed off South of Midnight. And South of Midnight had a really unique art style. There was definitely kind of a neat way that the main character was able to fly. I really appreciate the fact they actually showed real gameplay here. So many of these trailers are cinematic and lacked actually showing like large chunks of gameplay. So I got to give it credit for actually doing that. And I was impressed to see that it actually showed gameplay. Coming out in 2025 on Game Pass as well. Okay, so there's something I'm going to completely bitch about right here. The World of Warcraft game announced an expansion. Blizzard announced an expansion. And guess what? It's only coming to PC. So I figured when Microsoft bought Blizzard, that they were going to bring World of Warcraft onto Game Pass and onto Xbox console. However, that has not happened. Why? I do not know. This is a pattern of behavior that I've seen where Xbox is not bringing a bunch of older Activision Blizzard games on their platform. And it's something they need to answer for. Like, if they're not going to do it, let us know they're not going to do it so we can stop waiting and wondering why. So, considering the fact that this game was announced, the expansion was announced, and there's no mention of it coming to console, there's no mention of it coming to Game Pass, it's just going to run the same old business model, don't expect it to come, and that, to me, that's complete and total horseshit. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I'm not a huge Metal Gear fan, but I imagine if you've seen it, and you are a Metal Gear fan, it was a game you would enjoy. Sea of Thieves expansion, I could care less. I tried Sea of Thieves, didn't like it. Here's a game that's actually coming out soon. July 18th, Flintlock Siege of Dawn. It's an action game. It's coming out July 18th on Game Pass. I'll be checking it out. Maybe we'll do a review on this channel, I'm not sure. September 4th, Age of Mythology Retold, coming to Game Pass. It might be an RTS. I couldn't really tell off the trailer because, once again, very cinematic. But I'll check that out too. If it comes to Game Pass, guys, I will check out everything. Even if it's like 1 minute and then I'm like, okay, this isn't working for me. I do. I check out every single game that comes to Game Pass. Because you never know when you're going to find that diamond in a rough. And I understand you don't really do that with, like, Netflix. You don't start watching every single movie hoping that it's good. But I do that with Game Pass. And it's a business model that's worked for me for a while. I hardly even buy games on my Xbox. I mostly Game Pass it. And then the games I actually buy are from Nintendo. So, Perfect Dark had no date on it at all. It looked a lot like Starfield. It looked like a game I would enjoy. I didn't know it was Perfect Dark at first. But once I found out, I was like, oh, okay. But like I said, no date. Could this actually slip into 2026? Could this actually be the furthest game out, possibly? Yeah, either that or another game I'm going to talk about later. But 2025, maybe? But they didn't even put the year on, guys. So, I mean, don't expect this before 2026. It's going to be a very late-gen Series X game. Because I do believe the next Xbox will come in 2026. Which also reminds me, there was no mention of a handheld. So that rumor, not true. I knew it wouldn't be true. No Xbox handheld at the showcase. They probably have one in development. Diablo 4 expansion. Once again, a cinematic trailer. I could care less. I played Diablo 4. You know what? I didn't like it as much as I liked Diablo 3, to tell you the truth. Fable. You know, some people thought maybe it wouldn't be there. It was there. But it was another cinematic, goofy trailer. It was goofy, guys. It was very goofy. I don't know if Fable's supposed to be that goofy. Maybe I'm not caught up on the lore of it, maybe. Or maybe I missed the point. I was not a huge Fable fan back in the day anyway. But good news is, it says it's coming out in 2025. So we'll see if that's true. I feel like a lot of these 2025 games might slip into 2026. Just like a lot of these 2024 games that didn't have a date might slip into 2025. It's what tends to happen with game development, I feel like. Just another reason why, one of many reasons why Nintendo is king. Consistent releases, on-time releases, and quality releases. There was a comic book style 5 versus 5 hero shooter called Fragpunk coming in 2025. If it's free to play, I'll give it a shot. So, I'll leave it at that. There's a cartoon indie game with mice called Winterboro coming in early 2025. I actually do think that will hit its release date. And that is coming to Game Pass, so I'll give it a try. Annapurna is coming out with another weird art style game called Mixtape in 2025. It's coming to Game Pass. I will absolutely play it. If it's anything like Has Dusk Falls or something along those lines, the art style kind of looked that way. I like interactive story games. I think this will be a fun little game to play. I absolutely wouldn't buy it, but I'll absolutely play it. And that's kind of the gist of like 90% of Xbox is, it's not something I would buy, but it's something I would play. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is coming. Looks gorgeous. Those games bore me, though. Elder Scrolls Online expansion is coming. I used to play that some. I don't anymore, but that's good for people that are still playing it. Good support to, yeah, there's a lot of expansions in the show, and maybe it gets boring if it's not a game you're doing. But I do appreciate at least some support for communities they built, the games they put out, that they still support them going forward, not just leave people hanging. So that's good. This game I'm excited for. This game I'd pay hardcore fucking cash for. Life is Strange Double Exposure is coming October 29th. I love the Life is Strange series. Life is Strange 1, Life is Strange 2, Life is Strange 3. All three of them, I enjoyed the heck out of them. This one actually returns to the main character, Max Schofield, but it looks like has an adult and involves parallel worlds or universes. Very excited for this game. It has Game of the Year potential for me because I do think it's kind of a soft year for games to start with, and my current favorite Game of the Year is a game that is 20 years old but remade, which is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, which won't be my actual Game of the Year because it was back in 2004, whatever it was. It can't be now. I gotta pick something new, guys. And this might be the one. Indiana Jones: The Great Circle. This might be a Game of the Year candidate too. However, it said 2024 with no date. So, I am growing skeptical here, 50-50, whether or not this game will actually come out in 2024. Is it going to be a December 24 release? I don't know. The game looks really fun, actually. and I'm actually very excited to play it. And it's one of the few games that I've mentioned so far. Black Ops 6 is one of them. Expedition 33 is one of them. Life is Strange. And now Indiana Jones. Those 4 games I am super pumped to play so far. And it is coming to Game Pass day 1. There's a game called Mecha Break 2025. It looks like Gundam. It's coming out. Or it's called Mecha Break. It's coming out in 2025. It looks like Gundam. There's a beta in August of 2024. So I'll have to see if it's, hey, is the beta free? I'll check it out. Sorry I sound so cheap ass, but, there's so many games to buy or play that I just use my money wisely. So if it's a free beta, I'll check it out. The beta should be free. That's how they win you over to purchase said game. But some companies require a pre-order, which I don't believe in doing pre-orders. It's only a few times in my life where a game wasn't available at launch when I wanted it to be. And digitally, it always is, unless there's a problem going on. There is a hack and slash sword game called Wuchang Fallen Feathers coming in 2025 to Game Pass. And hey, this is right up my alley. You like stuff like Stellar Blade, you like stuff like Bayonetta. Maybe this can kind of scratch that itch when it comes out, and hopefully I'll enjoy it, and maybe we'll do a review on the channel about it. I feel like I'm the only one in the world that is excited about this game. I feel like the hype levels are real low for this, but this would be like the 5th game like I'm super, super pumped to play. And that's Avowed. Avowed looks great. I cannot wait to play it. And when I say look great, I don't talk about graphics that way. It's not about the graphics. When I say looks great, it looks like the gameplay is going to be fun and I want to get my hands on it, move my character, and start playing the game. So, out of all these like fantasy RPG games that we've seen this whole presentation, basically Avowed looks like the one that I'm most excited for. Like, even over like Elder Scrolls or something, it looks like something that is right up my alley. And apparently it's not going to be like 100 hours. It's going to be a little slimmed down from that, which I'm fine with. Time is very valuable, and I like a game that respects your time and doesn't just pad out the stuff. So hopefully it doesn't pad out anything, and the characters are good, and the gameplay is crisp. Adam Fall is coming to Game Pass in 2025. Honest to God, it looks like Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart disappointed me. Hopefully Adam Fall is like a retry at what Atomic Heart was going for, and I enjoy it. So that is coming to Game Pass day 1, and I'm interested. This game is not coming to Game Pass. This next game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, is coming November 15th. So we got a date on it. That's good. That's a thumbs up. When I first watched the game, I did not think for 1 second it was Assassin's Creed. It reminds me so much of Ghost of Tsushima, and that's kind of what the vibe is going into this. With this Assassin's Creed, it's been long requested that Assassin's Creed visit feudal Japan, and I'm very interested to see how this goes. I'm currently undecided whether or not I will buy this game or not, but I'm going to watch out for the Metacritic score on that one, and then we'll definitely discuss that on the channel at some point. Stalker 2, it's coming out September 5th. That's good. I'm glad to see it hit before Call of Duty. I really feel for those people that had tried to develop that game in Ukraine during the war, and they were able to they're able to complete this project and it see the light of day. I'll definitely play it when it comes on Game Pass and give it a legitimate shot. And if you have Game Pass too, I would. I would support that team. They went through a lot to make that game. You don't have to, obviously. Your time is valuable, and but I got to give salute, credit, hats off to that team for being able to complete development of this game. They also announced a new all-digital Series X. Who cares? I mean, honestly, who was clamoring for that? I don't think anybody. And different colors for each system, the Series S, the Series X. I mean, this goes to show there's definitely no Pro model coming. There's no handheld coming. And Xbox is in the middle of their generation, if not past the middle now. And they even slightly mentioned next gen, like in passing. So yeah, I mean, I kind of expect the next Xbox to come out in 2026. And it wouldn't shock me if it's all digital. I think there's probably an internal debate in the company whether or not they're just going to go all digital. I really believe there's a good chance of that happening. Also, the cloud could be very involved, possibly, with the system. But it could be risky if they don't do things right. And people will be upset if they don't have a physical library. I can tell you that right off the bat right now. And I don't know if you want more bad press, but we'll have to stay tuned and see what happens. It'll definitely be an interesting next couple of years for sure for the Green brand. Then we had Gears of War E-Day announced. I don't know why they're not calling it Gears 6. Maybe is this some kind of prequel? Am I missing something here? Is this a continuation off of 5? I mean, video game sequels have gotten very confusing because so often they'll be like, we're going to number you this, but we're actually going to go back to this, or this is a prequel here, and movie franchises have done it too. And it almost gets to the point where it's like, you know, there's so many reboots, remasters, remakes, and sometimes it's hard to keep track of. Like, I need a fucking evidence board and connect the dots to figure it out. But the bottom line is this. Plot holes aside, and we'll have to figure that out, obviously. Did the game look good? Did it seem like it was gonna play like a Gears game? Yes, and yes. So I thought it was the right game to end the presentation on before they went to the Call of Duty specific presentation. And so, overall, my thoughts on this presentation was we got a lot of good games. We got a lot of good updates to games, and we got a lot to look forward to on Game Pass, even off of Game Pass. We got a lot of variety here. We got a meaty show that wasn't full of too much fluff. I do have... my main concern is with the backlog of Activision Blizzard not coming on Game Pass, and a couple minor concerns about not showing specific release dates for like Indiana Jones and stuff like that. I felt like we should have nailed down some specifics. But other than that, I would classify this as a great show, which is an 8 out of 10. It's not going to completely knock your socks off, but I think when you look at the overall portfolio, Xbox is sure doing a hell of a lot more. And I mean by a significant amount more than PlayStation. And currently at the moment, they have more in the pipeline than Nintendo. However, I believe Nintendo is going to be coming out with their own Direct, and it's going to maybe have less quantity, but more quality in that. So, I will say PlayStation is going to have to respond and give their players some meat on the bone when it comes to their console, instead of just offering a PS5 Pro and then washing their hands and calling it a day. You're going to have to put out some games and show some games. And Xbox has a ton of first and third party games they showed in this presentation. And I did not find myself bored watching it. I enjoyed it very much. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I appreciate everybody that's been watching. And I thank you all greatly. I'll be back. Until then, I will see you on the flip side. Have a good one.